So for you, how did it feel? I assume you wanted to be an offensive coordinator for some time, and you actually got to do it.
It was exciting. It was a great first opportunity. Thought the guys delivered. First one at home, sold out crowd. My folks are in town, so it was pretty memorable.
What did you think of the offensive performance overall?
Shoot, they delivered. Strev went in there, did his thing. Newcomer Matt came in there, did his thing. We leaned on the big guys up front, and all in all, it was a great performance.
How did you approach the MOP leaves the game and a guy in his first CFL game comes into the game?
Yeah, again, last week you guys asked me the same question. We were just going to get Strev ready. We prepare on a weekly basis the same. Whether you're 1, 2, or 3, we're going to prepare the same way.
Sorry, I was thinking of the Peterson had to replace Brady in the game.
So, same thing, right? They're all in the same meetings. They're all answering the same questions. They're all getting the same scout report. So there's no, we're not leaning towards one another. We just plan on getting everybody ready week in and week out.
Was there anything that you went, man, I didn't know that was a thing, but now that I'm doing this at this level and calling the plays, I'll have to remember that going forward?
Maybe the speed of which, things happen. It's obviously we prepare for it as best we can. We got the game clock going on, play clock going on in practice, but, when it happens live, different ball game, obviously, so you got to be able to, again, adjust just faster week in and week out during a game decision, during the game time, yeah.
Was it fun, stressful? What were the emotions that you were experiencing, Jason?
All of the above. It's good to be stressed. You want to have that stress, right? It's got to be good stress, knowing that you prepared your butt off and you know what all the plays you have in and how to execute them. Then it's just how do we adapt to what the defense is going to bring us. But it was great. Yeah, it's a good experience.
You guys put up over 200 yards rushing, but at the end of it, is it always, no matter how it looks, as long as you get the W? Is that what you?
We could win by 1. That's all that matters. Yeah, a couple of Grey Cups. I thought we would have been happy just winning by 1.
What about that 108-yard drive? Just talk a bit about that. Like you said, your first game, and it may be one of the longest in team history or something like that. What's your thoughts on that one?
Didn't know about that stat. That's awesome that you guys looked that stuff up. It's exciting. It's exciting to know that you can lean on your fellas and they can just go out there and execute, being backed up on the doorstep and just march down the field, flip the field, for instance. And we would have been happy just to end with points, just flipping the field on him. Just so it happens we were able to dial up a touchdown. It's pretty exciting.
How difficult is it to string together a drive? It was 7 plays, but how difficult is it to string a drive like that length?
I'd say it's difficult for any offense. Just, the guys got to be able to execute, stay dialed in, understand what we're trying to achieve, and just focus on the next play. Not to get too excited that we got out of there. Understand that it's going to be a long process, whether it's 3 plays, 5 plays, 10 plays.
What did it do for your confidence, Jason, that, you're without your veteran starting quarterback, your star running back goes down early? On paper, that's not an ideal situation, and yet, the game ends in a pretty darn good way for you guys and your offense.
Yeah, I never look at it personally. It's more so how it affects everybody in the room. Be able to get guys who aren't necessarily in a starting role to be able to deliver like that. I think it uplifts the offense, uplifts the team. For myself, just, again, week in, week out, being surrounded by the staff we have, by the enormous amount of talent we have on this offense, I was not worried, but they delivered.
Any nerves going into your first game with the big headset, or just how were you feeling that night?
Always, because you prepare for the worst, but you never know what's going to happen, right? So you got to be able to adapt. And again, luckily, I'm surrounded by so many competent people on our staff that going into this thing, I did have a level of confidence, but you never know, right? So it was a good experience all in all.
Did you have to talk to Buck after the game?
Not after, because I'm in the booth, so I got there a little too late. We exchanged texts, during the week or prior to the game and then after the game, and I spoke to him before the game. It was good. We're in good spirits. He and I have a great relationship, love him to death. So it was a good conversation.
Jason, I wanted to ask you a question kind of similar to Taylor's first, and those of us that have followed this team for closely for a long time and that watch the league closely, we know the difference between that outside noise and the pundits and media types like myself or whoever might say or see one thing, and then how the Winnipeg Blue Bombers handle their business themselves. The starting quarterback unable to play that first game. The reigning MOP goes down. A lot of people saying, wow, they really performed under adversity. Is that the perspective inside the Blue Bombers organization, or how you guys coach, or is it more we all prepare the same? You've touched on that, but like the difference in that mentality.
Yeah, the adversity is ourselves, right? We're going to be our worst enemy week in, week out. We're going to prepare the best we can, go out there and try and execute the best we can. And I thought the guys did that, so hats off to them. Everybody delivered. It was awesome.